Welcome to this episode of Gear and Beer. Gear and Beer is where we dive into the secret lives of the gear that we have loved, known, and cherished, and sometimes we do it over a beer. First, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Praying Man Outfitters. Praying Man Outfitters, outfitting you with killer apparel that looks great. You're going to like the way you look. We guarantee it. Praying Man Outfitters. Jump on over to Praying Man Outfitters at www.prayingman.com and get some killer gear. Get outfitted. Hunt, fish, prey, Praying Man. Today, our guest is Camo Cotton Shirt. Camo Cotton Shirt, thank you for joining us.
No problem. I appreciate the invite. It's been a while since I've been out of the closet, so feels good. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Are you comfortable there on that hanger?
I'm not sure, what the availability of this hanger is after this interview, but it's definitely an upgrade from the wire hanger that I'm used to. So if it's not too much trouble, if take that off your hands, be cool.
Yeah, truth be told, we were actually going to go with a wire hanger, but our receptionist, Cynthia, locked her keys in her car, so it wasn't available. That velvet hanger you have there is, I believe, from our coat rack. So, but you're welcome. And we're glad you're comfortable. Camo Cotton Shirt. I have lots of questions for you. I've been a huge fan, and but first, before we proceed, just to our listeners, am I saying your name right? Camo Cotton Shirt.
Yeah, in the in the most generic sense, yes, I guess that is how I could be addressed. But I'd say camel button down shirt would I'd probably throw in the button down. I'm not a pullover, not a 3/4 zip. I'm a classic piece.
Yeah, and those are those black buttons, seemingly oversized, but those are really nice. It would be more professional to be considered as a button down. Well, awesome, thank you, perfect. Well, tell our listeners a little bit about yourself. You're Camel, but you're not just any Camo.
Sure, John. Appreciate that. Platform to kind of get my story out. It's great. But yeah, a camo button-down shirt. 1991 was a long time ago. But 2 pockets, left and right breast, a camo pattern. Again, it's a different time, so it's it's not. I don't know if it's trendy. I'd say maybe it's possibly making a comeback. But generic camo. You'll see. If you're just taking a look at me, I got a cluster of twigs kind of running down my right arm, across the back as well. Kind of just terminates for no reason into just an abyss of blackness, at the back part of my shirt. Also some leaves. No camel pattern would be considered a success if it didn't have a leaf pattern of some sort. Mine has an array of leaves, different colors, sizes, apparently different color phases as well for some reason.
It looks like there might be is that oak? Is there some? Is that a white oak leaf potentially?
There's a series of oaks.
Okay.
My intention, my creation was to entice and hide a hunter in a whitetail background. So oaks have to be involved, which they were. So I can't help but notice your eyes seem to be kind of focused and fixed on one particular part of my shirt.
I'm caught red-handed. So no white oak tree wouldn't be complete without nuts, but
listen, let's just cut right to it. Okay.
Okay.
There's a large set of acorns at the bottom of my right side of my shirt, front right.
Yeah,
I'm aware of it.
Well, are acorns? I thought acorns were all the same size. These
Listen, I don't know if it was a printing issue, if somebody in the graphics department was having some fun that day, but this set of Acorns is larger than most, and it's placed at the bottom of the shirt, where most people's crotch would be.
Okay, perfect. Okay, now that we have that cleared out, my apologies. But moving on. So tell me about your start.
Thank you.
Camo shirt.
Yeah. Well, okay. So, again, 91 was a long time ago. 1991 catalogs were big. I was, after production, I was in the Bass Pro line. I think they had a couple of stores in Missouri, but most of their sales were cataloged. I was featured. Not many people noticed this, but I hate to brag. But 1991, I was actually on the cover. It's on the cover, Bass Pro Shops. Very young.
No way.
Yeah,
No way.
I was. Like I said, I don't like to bring it up too often, be braggadocious. But if you look back, it's a very young Will Primos.
Wow.
William Primos at the time was on the cover, and I got to I was on the cover with him.
Jeez.
Tiny shoulders, just within my confines.
Yeah. What size are you too? Since we're on that topic.
Oddly enough, I'm a medium. So they had to wash me before that shoot though, because I was actually a little bit too big for Will. So they wanted it to be a little tighter. So I'm kind of like a medium small at this point.
Yeah. What's a good point? What are the preferred care instructions for a garment like yourself?
What do you like? I mean, you're dancing around the question. You're kind of, are you calling me a garment? You're talking about care instructions.
It's well-known fact out there that cotton shirts, will shrink a whole heck of a lot if not cared for properly. And are they all created equal? I mean, you've obviously been around the block, and no disrespect intended, but you kind of got to handle with care, don't you?
Yeah. Next question.
Okay, sorry. Moving on. Will Primos, what was your next stop in your illustrious career?
Sure. So, most of those glamour shot pieces are kind of one and done. Luckily enough, I was laundered after the Primos shoot. Did I mention that I was on the cover?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you did.
Anyway, so after that, we headed back to Bass Pro, got laundered. Oh man, scent control. Funny thing. Back then, it was just Tide. So we got hit with the Tide.
Really?
Wow. Yep. Just regular laundry back on the shelf. I'll be sold as a second at this point, which just obviously not new anymore.
You'd think being on the having some Will Primos DNA on your body. On your garment. Oh, I'm sorry, not garment. Threads.
That works.
Oh, okay. Might up up the ante, up the value.
Yeah, he was still pretty young and hadn't hit stardom yet. So he was just another face in the crowd at that point. So I was on the shelf for a while. I knew the shopping season was coming up. Christmas was coming up. Catalogs were being run out for Black Friday left and right. So I just knew it was a matter of time before my number was called. And sure enough, right after that Black Friday sale, I was shipped out to Michigan.
Michigan, home of the Midwest whitetail buck.
Yeah. I was excited. I was excited to be going to a place with a heritage of hunting. Had a pretty good idea that I'd be in good hands.
Right. So where'd you land up there in Michigan?
So arrived on the doorstep of one Gordon Meyer Fitz.
Naturally.
Yep.
Naturally.
Yeah. It was a Fitz or a ski. I was sure.
Yep.
Midwestern folk. Good guy. Avid hunter. Old school kind of guy. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Farmer, hunter, dad.
Your
mechanic.
Your heaven sounds like that's where you.
It was great. I got a lot of use in the field. Even when he wasn't hunting, I was usually thrown on a cool morning.
Was he a heavy sweater?
If I had one complaint about Gordon, was the fact that he did have a kind of an overactive sweat gland, it seemed. So without going too deep into, again, which you seem like you kind of picking a scab about cotton. I don't really want to go there again, but yes, I did have a bit of an issue with moisture wicking. I hate that word. So
I understand.
Yeah, I bet you do. But Gordon and I got along well.
Awesome. Well, great. So then, what happened? What happened with George? How did that relationship
Well,
carry on?
Gordon was his name, but
Oh, Gordon.
yeah,
Sorry. Yeah.
that's fine.
Sorry.
That's fine. Gordon, like he was a real hard worker. Yeah, again, he used me a lot. Sometimes he kind of burned the candle a little bit too much on both ends, and got a little careless one day. And power takeoff shaft, farming accident, and put him out of commission for a while. So he was laid up for about 8 months, and at which point his sweet tooth apparently got the better of him. And
he was curious. Some may say he was a curious George.
He was curious Gordon. Still Gordon, but
Gordon. Sorry.
Yeah. But anyway, so he enjoyed the sweets, and when he was finally back to getting out in the field and going hunting, he had put on a couple extra pounds. So when he went to put me on that November morning before season, he found out that could not be buttoned up all the way.
No. Not all
You
the
heard
way.
me. Yeah. He started at the top and tried to button down. Ran into a bit of an issue around the stomach area.
What was that? So what is that on you on a medium? That's like fourth button down. That's your midriff.
Right. You're exactly right. Yep. Fourth button.
Oh no! It's kind of a travesty, isn't it? I mean, for a proud buttoned up shirt like yourself, what's it like to be unbuttoned?
It's one of those things where you just don't. First of all, you don't talk about it very much because it's very uncomfortable. So I guess I mean I don't know. I'm trying to put it in perspective for you. Let's just say that you're in public and you're wearing gym shorts. The light fabric gym shorts, but you don't have any underwear on.
Yes, I can relate to this.
You can relate to that.
Yeah.
So
yes.
You're just all over the place.
Oh, I see. Oh, yeah.
So
exposed almost.
It just feels uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable. You don't know what is showing, and it's a place where we don't like to be as a button down.
So at that point in your relationship with George, what do you? I mean, you don't fit anymore. So what's the next step?
Yeah, unfortunately, that injury was. That was kind of the beginning of the end for him, and his hunting days were limited. So, we made a few treks out after that, but it just wasn't the same. He hung up the camo and the rifle and the bow, and decided to give all of his hunting equipment and paraphernalia to his grandson Dylan.
Dylan, sounds like there might be some resentment there.
Yeah, it's pretty accurate. Dylan, new age, new type of hunter. For all intents and purposes, a good guy, right?
Yeah.
He's passionate about the sport. However, I would say he's been heavily influenced by podcasts and articles and YouTube videos on new gear. And a lot of that gear, unfortunately, is absent of any cotton. Okay. No, it's just. I'm more of a memory at this point.
Yes. Yeah. You are a memory in the fabric of Dylan's life.
Caught that pun, and yes, I am. So
excellent. So, so Dylan is an elitist. He only likes comfortable, technologically advanced garments. And so you're no longer in the picture, so you're kind of just you're in this limbo land. What's the biggest fear of a camo cotton shirt? What's the biggest fear for you?
I think anybody in my position gets to a position in their life where the inevitable is ahead of you, and that is improper use. More of a different idea of what you as a garment can be used for. So, 20 years ago, there would the idea of me being used for anything but concealing a hunter would be out of the question.
I see.
Today is a different story. Reworked fabric is big into, say, dog beds or drapes or bugle tube covers or you name it.
Yeah.
I mean, and here's a surprise for you. You ready for this?
Yeah, I am.
That's the good way to go out.
That's the good way.
Yeah.
What's the bad?
You're gonna make me say it?
Well, I think we're all dying to know.
Okay. Obviously, you're around camp. Somehow you got invited on this latest hunting trip. Obviously, not to be worn, but maybe just to be worn around camp as more of an afterthought. Maybe it's nostalgia. Chili was eaten for lunch that day, and your wearer is quickly realizing that the IPAs and the chili were not a good mix.
I see.
The realization also that there's no toilet paper available.
Oh,
You can feel. I mean, you see where this is going.
I do.
Yeah. So that would be
really
the worst
do.
way to go.
So cuffs would be the first to go.
Yeah,
Your
you
long
kind of.
sleeve.
That's
So
generally okay. So best case scenario, in a situation like that, I mean, you're turned into like a kind of a redneck sleeveless button down, which kind of a Joe Dirt type of garment at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Which at that point, just throw me out. Throw me out.
Do all camo cotton shirts go to heaven? Sorry, I couldn't help myself. Well, I tell you what, Camo Cotton Shirt, thank you for joining us today. You have really shed a lot of light on your life, your background, and we just really appreciate you coming and sharing that with us. Please leave the velvet hanger on your way out.
Okay. Well, thanks again. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah.
Not sure why I can't take the hanger, but just a quick, if I could, for my fellow cotton shirts out there.
As long as it's quick.
Yeah, right. Just think about us. Next time you see us in the back of the closet at the bottom of a tote, of hunting clothes, just maybe brush us off. Give us one more run. Most likely we're going to disappoint you, but you'll remember us.
Well, thanks again for joining us on this episode of Gear and Beer. Please join us next time when we will dive into the secret life of retired crankbaits.